The graphical parameters or par command is a very useful command in R, and actually it's the help text that makes it most useful, more so than the command itself. And that is because when you look at the help text for par, you get information about a lot of arguments that can be used as arguments for a large number of plot commands or graphical commands, and they may not always be defined in the help text of the plot commands themselves, but they are only accessible via the help text of par. But par is also a command of its own, and it's used to set a value of a graphical argument so that it remains set to this value for any number of plot commands or graphical commands that you use henceforth until you start a new plot window. First we'll look at the color arguments available through par. The first of these is the background BG argument. It defines the background color, and the background differs. What that means differs between different graphical commands. But in, for example, the plot, the usual plot command, it refers to the filling color of the points. And if you write like this, par BG equals red, then this would affect everything that is plotted onwards until you start a new plot window or a new device. While if you write plot and then BG as an argument to the plot command, it only affects that particular plot. And if you, for example, add points, they will not have red background. The color command is commonly used to define the color of a plot, the main color. And you can also address specific colors, for example, the color of the axis, the color of the labels, and the color of the main title. The CX argument stands for character expansion factor, and it defines the size of points and other characters. And if you write par CX equals 2, then this doubles the size of any characters in all graphical commands used henceforth. While if you write plot and then CX, this triples the size of the points in that particular plot. And an important thing here is that if you use both these commands, then this CX equals 3 will not override the CX equals 2 here, but they will be multiplied, so that the size will be 3 times, not 3 times the original size, but 3 times the size they would have been otherwise, which is 2 times the original size. So the result will be that you get points that are 6 times as big as they would have been using the default settings. And you can address specific things using CX axis, label, main. There are text arguments, for example adjustment, ADJ. And here 0 stands for left adjusted text, 0.5 is centered, and 1 is right adjusted. Interestingly enough, you can also provide any number between 0 and 1. So by using, for example, 0.95, you would get text that is almost but not quite right adjusted. I'm not sure why that would be a good idea, but it works anyway. When you want to choose a specific font or typeface, then you use the family argument. And you only have 3 fonts available actually. Serif for a serif typeface with these little dashes here, which are the serifs. Sans typeface available through sans, and then the mono giving you a mono space typeface where each letter is of equal width. But we'll come back to the typefaces and how you choose between more than 3. There is a font argument as well, but it's not what you usually would call a font, but rather the text formatting. 1 is the default value, which gives you a normal text. And if you want bold, you use font equals 2. 3 would give you italic, and if you want both bold and italic at the same time, you use 4. 5 gives you this it gives you symbols, which I would say is more like a typeface actually. And you can address the axis and so forth, as in the previous examples. If you want to rotate the text, you use the string rotation argument, SRT. And here you give the rotation of the text in degrees, while a lot of other commands in R uses radians, but here it is degrees, with 360 degrees to a full turn. If you're using graphical commands which includes lines of some kind, then you have the line width argument, which defines the width of the lines, and 1 is the default value and 2 is twice as wide, obviously. You can also change the line type using the LTY argument, and 1 is the default value here, a solid line usually, while 2 gives you a dashed line, 3 a dotted line, and so on. You can also design your own line types if these are not sufficient for your needs. BTY defines the box type, and the box is the square surrounding the plot area within the axis. And O is the default value here. It gives you a square box with the lines on top, on the bottom, to the left and to the right. L would give you a line to the left and at the bottom, because that would look like a capital L, although the value that you must provide is a small l. 7 will give you a line at the top and to the right. C will give you a line at the top, the left and the right, and so on. Mar defines the margins of the plotting area, or outside the plotting area, and you provide these margins as a vector with 4 values: the margin below, to the left, above, and to the right. And the default values for these are 5.1, 4.1, 4.1, and 2.1. By using the TCK argument, you can change the tick mark length, the ticks on the axis. And any value below 0 here will give ticks outside the plot area, while values above 0 gives you ticks on the inside. If you give 1, you get grid lines, because the length of the ticks is expressed as fractions of the total plot size. So 1 will give you ticks on the inside just as big as the plotting area itself, and in effect you would get grid lines. That's how you make grid lines in R. The default value here is minus 0.01, which gives you rather short ticks on the outside.